Some stories are not just about crime. Some stories are about conscience, about the weight of one decision, about a courtroom where the law may be written clearly, but morality stands in the shadows, asking a much harder question. Today, we are talking about Judge Stone, a tense courtroom thriller by James Patterson. A story set in the quiet town of Union Springs, Alabama, where one judge, one case, and one impossible choice can shake an entire community. Judge Stone is built around a powerful premise. The most respected citizen in Union Springs is Judge Mary Stone. She is not just a judge sitting behind a bench. She is also a woman connected to her land, her family farm, and the people of the town she serves. She holds two responsibilities close to her heart: running her family farm and presiding over her courtroom. Both require discipline. Both require courage, and both demand a deep sense of duty. But when the most controversial case in the history of the South lands before her, everything changes. Union Springs, Alabama. A quiet town, a small town, a place where silence can speak louder than words. A place where everyone knows everyone. Where reputations are built slowly, but can be destroyed in a single day. In a large city, a courtroom case may become one headline among many. But in a small town, a case becomes personal. It enters conversations at the dinner table. It divides neighbors. It follows people into churches, farms, shops, and homes. That is what makes the setting of Judge Stone so important. This is not just a legal thriller, this is a small-town moral storm. The courtroom becomes more than a courtroom, it becomes the center of the town's conscience. At the center of the story is Judge Mary Stone. She is respected, fearless, deeply rooted in justice. But what makes her interesting is not only her authority. It is the burden that comes with that authority. A judge is expected to be firm, neutral, guided by law. But behind the robe is a human being. Someone who understands consequences. Someone who knows that a verdict does not end inside the courtroom. It travels outward. It affects families, communities, and sometimes history itself. Judge Mary Stone appears to be the kind of person who believes in doing what is right, even when the cost is high. And that is exactly what makes her dangerous to those who want an easy answer. Because in this story, there is no easy answer. Courtroom thrillers often work because they force us to sit in judgment. We listen to the facts. We watch the arguments. We decide who is lying, who is hiding something, and who deserves justice. But Judge Stone seems to go deeper than that. It brings us into the uncomfortable space between law and morality. The law needs clarity, it needs rules, it needs procedure. But morality is rarely that clean. Morality asks different questions. Who will suffer? Who will be protected? What does justice mean when every possible decision leaves someone wounded? That is why this story feels emotionally intense. It is not only asking what happened, it is asking what should happen next. In a small town, pressure works differently. People do not just hear about a case, they feel connected to it. They know the families. They know the history. They may even have opinions before the evidence is fully heard. For Judge Mary Stone, this makes her position even more difficult. She cannot please everyone. In fact, no judge can. And the book's description makes that very clear. No judge can satisfy everyone. It would be dangerous to try. But that is what gives the story its power. Judge Stone is not only fighting for a verdict, she is fighting to bring justice to the people and place she loves. And sometimes, loving a place means standing against what that place wants from you.
You can rent or read Judge Stone on RentReadBuy. If you enjoy courtroom thrillers, legal suspense, and stories where one decision can change everything, this book may be your next gripping read. The link is in the description, and if you want more book reviews, short recommendations, and story-style narrations, follow RentReadBuy for more. Until the next story, keep reading. So, should you read Judge Stone? If you are looking for a tense, thought-provoking courtroom thriller, Yes, this is not just a story about a case. It is a story about courage, duty, and the price of doing what is right. Judge Mary Stone stands at the center of a storm, respected by her town, tested by the law, and challenged by morality itself. The law may seem clear, but in Judge Stone, justice is not simple, and that is what makes the story worth reading. Rent Judge Stone today on RentReadBuy and discover a courtroom thriller where doing the right thing may come at the highest price. One judge, one town, one case that makes justice impossible. As a reader, this is the kind of thriller that pulls you in, not just because you want to know what happens, but because you want to understand what the right decision should be. The most interesting thrillers are not always the ones with the biggest twists. Sometimes the strongest thrillers are the ones that make you uncomfortable, the ones that make you ask yourself, what would I do in that position? Judge Stone appears to be that kind of story. It gives us a judge who must carry the burden of justice, a town that may not be ready for the truth, and a case where the legal answer and the moral answer may not stand on the same side. Judge Stone is a strong pick for readers who enjoy courtroom thrillers, legal drama, moral dilemmas, and stories centered around strong characters. If you like books where the courtroom becomes a battlefield of truth, power, fear, and conscience, this one should interest you. It is also a good choice for readers who enjoy stories about small towns with big secrets, judges under pressure, and decisions that carry consequences far beyond the courtroom. If you enjoy books that mix suspense with ethical conflict, Judge Stone deserves a place on your reading list. One of the reasons Judge Stone works well as a book recommendation is that the premise feels cinematic. You can almost see the courtroom, the polished wood, the silence before a decision, the faces of people waiting for an answer, the judge sitting still, knowing that whatever she decides will change everything. There is also a strong visual contrast in the story. On one side, you have the quiet beauty of a small Alabama town. Farms, roads, courthouse steps, familiar faces. On the other side, you have fire, tension, moral conflict, and a case powerful enough to shake the conscience of a nation. That contrast makes the story perfect for readers who enjoy suspense with emotional weight.